lost into the wild fields at night. The night wind blew through the dry fields, blowing up the damp smell of old soil. Min and Lan stopped their bike in the middle of a deserted road because it suddenly rained heavily. Lan shuddering. This place, why does it look so scary? Min, it doesn't seem like a place for the living. Min, it's just an old cemetery. Rest a bit and then continue. The two parked their bikes close to the edge of the cemetery. In the darkness, the tombstones were tilted, covered with moss like cold stone blades. Suddenly, the wind changed direction, blowing back into the field, making the dry grass rustle as if someone had walked over them. Lan suddenly heard a very soft, very close whisper, a female voice, distant, so cold. Lan turned pale, turning around. Lan, here, Min. Someone is crying. Min, no, probably just the wind. But Min himself felt a chill down his spine. The unnamed grave by the root of the ancient katana tree. Under the lightning, they saw a low mound of earth. No tombstone, no epitaph, only a red string tied around the ancient kapok tree. Lan, the grave, has no name. Why was it abandoned like that? Min, I don't know, but it looks very old. Min used a flashlight to shine around. A small handprint appeared on the ground, printed very clearly, as if it had just been pressed into wet soil. Lan's voice trembled. A handprint of a girl. As soon as the sentence ended, the ground shook slightly. The red string on the kapok tree suddenly stretched, then broke. A cold wind swept through. The air thickened as if someone had just stood right behind. The female voice whispered, clearer. Don't go, Lan screamed, clinging to Min's hand. Soul appearance. From behind the grave, a white shadow gradually appeared. Long, wet hair covered most of her face. Under the hair, bloodshot eyes opened as if watching. Female soul, do you hear me crying? Lan burst into tears. Min retreated, but did not run away. Min trembling. Who are you, female soul? I am La, the virgin, buried alive under this grave. No one heard my cry for help. No one remembers I ever existed. Her voice choked as if mixed with the wind. Lan, why are you still here? Female soul, because of injustice, because of the curse. I was buried in the ground while I was still breathing. My fingernails dug until they bled, but no one lifted me up. I was cold. I was alone. I was afraid of the dark. Her voice suddenly became full of resentment. And I don't want anyone to leave here like they abandoned me. The wind rose in whirlwinds. The surrounding graves shook. The earth rose in pieces. The truth under the grave. Min took a deep breath, gathering all her composure to ask, Min, what happened to you? Who harmed you? La bent down, her blurry hand swiping on the ground, revealing long, deep scratches, carved with a girl's fingernails. Female soul broken. My lover betrayed me. He wanted to marry a rich girl. I knew his secret, so he buried me alive. Here, Lan was so scared that her legs couldn't stand. Lan, what do you want us to do? La looked at them, her eyes both pitiful and scary. Female soul, bring me to the light. Let me have a name, so I'm no longer a lost soul. The wind stopped. The cemetery became silent, as if holding its breath. Soul, but if you leave halfway, I will follow. Her smile was full of pain and spite. Promise to the soul. Min stepped closer to the grave, placed her hand on the ground and said, Min, I promise to bring your story to light. I will not let you be forgotten. Les' eyes softened. The mist around her gradually cleared. Soul, thank you, but remember, if you break your promise, I will find you. The wind blew away a handful of dirt, like a mark. Then she disappeared, leaving behind a faint scent of wildflowers. Lan gasped, her whole body trembling. Lan, Min, did we do the right thing? Min looked back at the anonymous grave, his voice low. Min, sometimes souls only stay because no one remembers them anymore. A small sob echoed from the grave. The two looked at each other, then quietly left in the night. And from afar, in the darkness, a girl's long hair gently swayed in the wind. Part 2. The Truth in the Dark. The Haunting Promise. After the night they met, Les Spirit, Min and Lan almost lost sleep. Every time they closed their eyes, they both heard a mournful sob coming from underground. One evening, Lan was washing her hair in the bathroom when the light bulb flickered continuously. The water on her head gradually became cold, so cold that it hurt. Then a soft voice sounded right behind her neck, with a whispering, "Did you forget your promise?" Lan screamed loudly and collapsed on the floor. Min ran in and helped her up. Lan sobbing, she stood behind. Her voice was very close. "Min, she's following us." Min squeezed Lan's shoulder, but he himself was trembling. "Min, we have to do what she wants. We have to find the truth." Lan bowed her head, tears streaming down. "Lan," she said, "if we break our promise, she will follow Min. What if we don't make it in time?" Min looked out the window. The wind suddenly blew strongly, causing the curtains to flutter. In that moment, he saw the shadow of a girl standing in front of the gate, her long hair covering her face, motionless like a statue, returned to the cemetery. The next night, Min decided to return to the place where the unmarked grave was. Lan was scared but still followed. The old cemetery was darker than usual that night. There was no wind, not a sound, only the smell of damp soil and the cold air coming from underground. Min brought a hoe and a flashlight. "Lan, are we really going to dig a grave?" "Min, if we want to know the truth, we have to do it." They walked towards the unmarked grave. Immediately, a cold wind blew, even though there was no wind in the sky. Lan shivered. "Lan, she's here." Min raised the flashlight and swept it over. In 1 second, the light hit the white figure standing behind the grave. A girl, loose hair, no face. But when Min blinked, the figure had disappeared. Digging a grave, Min started digging. The sound of the shovel hitting the ground was heavy, slow, as if something was holding it back. Lan stood beside her, always feeling like someone was standing close behind her. Many times she turned around, but there was no one. Min dug until the shovel touched the rotten wood. Min, we're here. He used his hand to push away some of the dirt. They saw the rotten coffin lid, blackened by time. Suddenly, knock-knock-knock.com. A knocking sound came from inside the coffin. Lan screamed. Lan, there's someone in there. Min turned pale and stepped back. The knocking sound came again, slow, steady, like a distress signal. Knock, knock, help. Then Les's voice rang out, choked, as if her mouth was covered with dirt. La, don't leave me. Lan burst into tears, bones and mysteries. Min mustered up all his courage and used a crowbar to pry open the coffin lid. The lid swung open with unusual force, as if someone had pushed it up from below. Inside, they saw a skeleton lying on its side, curled up as if trying to rise. Fingernails scratched the wood, leaving long, deep marks. A faded red ribbon was still on the neck bone. Lan covered her mouth in fear. Lan, she was really buried alive. At that moment, behind them came the sound of footsteps crunching on dry ground. Min turned around. Lo was standing right behind him, no longer as blurry as before. She appeared clearly, pale skin, deep, bloodshot eyes. La gasping. You guys have seen the truth. Lan trembled and held Min's hand. Lan, what else do you want us to do? La pointed to the red ribbon on her collarbone. La, in the house. He still has my diary. Take it. Tell everyone I didn't die. Min asked softly. Min, who is he? La didn't answer. She just reached out her cold hand to touch Min's shoulder. He felt his whole body freeze. La, let's go. Before he knows you're looking for me. The wind blew hard. The surrounding graves shook like groans. Lan and Min rushed towards the car. When they looked back for the last time, Lei was standing next to the open grave, her hair flying in the wind, her eyes following them, sad, but also full of resentment. Part 3. The Ghost Behind the Light. The Hidden Diary. Min and Lan went to the old house of Hung, Les' ex-lover. The house was at the end of the road, dilapidated, mossy. The wooden door was rotten, as if about to fall. Both of them stood in front of the door, their hearts pounding. Lan, Min, is there any chance he's still here? Min, if he killed La, he could do anything. Min took a flashlight and pushed the door open. The door opened with a long, creepy creak. Inside was dark. It smelled musty and cold cigarettes. Min whispered, Min, let's find the diary. La said it would prove everything. Lan shone the light into the corner of the room. A wooden cabinet was locked with a rusty padlock. Lan, open it. Min used a crowbar to pry it open. The lock broke. The cabinet door flew open. Inside, it was a black notebook covered in faded red cloth. On the cover was engraved La Diary of 18 years old. Lan tremblingly opened the first page. The handwritten, smeared ink. If anyone reads it, it means I have no chance to live. Lan flipped the page further. The more she read, the more her hands shook. La told the bard discovering Hung had borrowed money at high interest rates. He planned to marry the creditor's daughter to clear his debt. La carried in her heart the secret of his dirty dealings, and finally, the hastily written, ink-smeared with tears, "Tonight, he invited me to the cemetery. He said he wanted to say goodbye. I'm scared, but I'll go if I don't come back. The one who killed me is Hung." Lan covered her mouth, tears welling up. Lan, oh my God, she knew it and still went. Min clenched his fists, angry. "Min, we have to give this to the police." But at that moment, a bang sounded from the kitchen. The two of them jumped. Someone was in the house. The assassin in the dark. Min signaled Lan to step back. He walked lightly towards the kitchen. The kitchen door was ajar. The flashlight shone on the shadow of a man standing with his back turned, holding something like a knife. Min shouted, "Min, who are you?" The man turned round. His face was haggard. His eyes were bloodshot. His moustache was disheveled. It was Hung. He smiled crookedly. "Hung, you guys are searching my things." Lan stepped back. "Lan, you killed La. The diary says it all." Hung stepped forward, his eyes wild. "Hung, that girl doesn't know anything. She wants to ruin my life. I just want her to be quiet." Min roared. Min, silence by burying her alive. Hung slammed the knife down on the table. "Hung, it's her fault. Anyone who knows too much must die." Lan shouted. "Lan, he wants to kill us." Min ran. Hung rushed forward. The soul of La appears just as the blade was about to touch Lan. T*18. The lights in the house suddenly went out. The night was thick. Hung stopped. A voice rang out, very close, right behind him. The whispering, "Hung, I am still here." Hung turned around quickly. Behind him, Lei was standing there. Hair covered her face. Two pale hands were tightly gripping his shoulders. Hung screamed, "Hung, no, no, I buried you. I buried you." La pressed her face close to his. Her voice choked like the sound of the earth collapsing. "La, you buried me while I was still breathing." Lan hugged Min, both of them not daring to move. The lights flickered. Then, bam! Hung was thrown against the wall as if by an invisible force. He crawled towards the door, stammering, "Hung, I didn't mean to. Please spare me." La walked over. Her shadow stretched across the floor, distorted like tentacles. "La, you left me to die alone." In the dark, the air froze. Hung's breath stopped. A cracking sound rang out, then silence. Hung lay still, his eyes wide open, lifeless, freed his soul. Min walked closer, trembling. "Min, La, it's over. He has paid the price." La turned to look at them. This time her eyes were no longer red but filled with tears. La softly, "Thank you for believing me," Lan asked, her voice trembling. "Lan, now, where will you go?" The cold wind blew. The curtains swayed slightly. La smiled, the first smile, gentle and sad. "La, I go back to where I belong." A dim white light surrounded her. Les' body gradually dissolved into tiny particles of light, floating up like thousands of white petals in the night. The diary on the table opened. The last page wrote itself. "Thank you for giving me back my voice." Min and Lan stood still outside the porch. The sky brightened after a dark night. La was finally free. Part 4. The Call from the Broken Talisman. 2 weeks after the incident, 2 weeks have passed since the night Min and Lan witnessed La exonerating them. They thought everything was over, but as time went on, Min felt more and more that something was not right. He kept dreaming of La standing behind the frosted glass, calling him in a choked voice. "La in the dream, Min, don't let me disappear." Min woke up, cold sweat running down his spine. Lan realized that. "Lan, Min, I think Les' soul hasn't really been released yet." Min whispered. "Min, but she has already melted into light." Lan shook her head. "Lan, that might just be part of it. La still has something to say." The diary opened by itself. That night, when Min placed Les' diary on the desk, it opened automatically. The page shook slightly, as if there was a wind, even though the windows were all closed. Then black lines of text began to appear right before Min's eyes, like an invisible hand was writing. "Min, I can't leave yet. I still have a secret, and if I don't tell it, I can't rest in peace." Min choked. "Min, love, what do you want to say?" In the end, the page continued to write. "I am not the only victim. Hung did not work alone." Min was startled. "You mean someone else participated?" The writing trembled violently. "That one is still alive." The room darkened. The shadow from the corner of the house seemed to shift. "Terrible suspicion," Min told Lan. Lan turned pale. "Lan, if there is a second person, then he must be someone who knows about the story between La and Hung, and also knows that you are investigating the case." Min nodded. "Min, police, neighbor, or..." He paused. In his mind appeared the image of Mr. Tung, the cemetery guard, the first person to report hearing the crying in the grave. Lan asked. "Lan, why are you so quiet?" Min took a deep breath. "Min, Mr. Tung knows too much, and he always appears at the right time. It can't be a coincidence." Lan worried. "Lan, if he is also involved, then we are in danger." Les' last message. The diary shook again. A new line appeared. "Don't trust the person who looks after the field." Min turned pale. Lan squeezed his hand. "Lan, so that means Mr. Tung is really involved." But the line didn't stop. The page continued to write, trembling as if in pain. "I was betrayed by the person who promised to protect me, but instead brought me to death." The wind blew open the window. The desk lamp flickered on and off. Then the page wrote the last line, the line that made both Min and Lan freeze. "The second person was the person who took me to the cemetery. That was the person you both trust." The page suddenly tore in two. The light went out. Outside, there was the sound of footsteps dragging around the house.